Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to Pathologic. Last time we talked to the Sabarovs again for the first time, so that was pretty exciting. Right, now I gotta go talk to Yulia, I guess. Where does she... Okay, she's right over there. No, she is not. She's over there. Like I said, I'm going to have to take some time to get back used to the map, but that's alright. Yeah, I mean... I'm kind of wondering at this point how much I even remember of the game. Like, I remember all the grand strats. I remember the important parts. Like, I remember to check my letters and, like, generally some of the missions, but I don't remember, like, the fine details of, like this particularly. Okay, this is our house, so we're gonna have to... Oh, did you see those windows get all funky there for a minute? That was interesting. Need to rummage around in the garbage some more. But, yeah, I feel like with this, I don't know if there's probably a way to, like, skip some of this, but it's fine. I mean, we got plenty of time still. This is day one. It's not too high stakes in and of itself as of just yet. Hey girl, I'm in your house. Yulia.
I'm afraid I'm of little use now.
Yeah, me too, girl. I seem to have lost any capacity for observation. My mind is out of tune. Things no longer add up. Before, I had no trouble forming a trustworthy tessellation out of the most imperceptible contingencies. Now I simply cannot get my head around it. Could it be that I am dying? The steppe air is way too thick. I think that's what caused it. Oh no, Herbet verine is in blossom, I grant you, but then it blooms every year. Every year this steppe is filled with its stupefying vapors. The issue I am having, however, has nothing to do with fatigue or perplexity. It is just that I've lost my ability to make distinctive events coincide. Everyone has that ability. You don't seem to understand what I'm saying. Let me elucidate. A single word someone utters may precipitate the birth of their own murderer. This line of philosophizing is barely an intellectual novelty, and is particularly relevant in our neck of the woods. I sometimes feel like I could touch the notions of cause and effect with the tips of my fingers. But now I'm being tedious, I reckon. Not at all.
This girl is a changeling. She's not the murderer.
So you have traveled all the way here only to find that both people you wanted to see were brutally murdered. Is that how the story goes? I do hope that your visit is not in any way related to these most unfortunate circumstances. I have to find whoever it is that killed Isidore and Simon, and I wanted to ask for your help. Sabarov told me you have a gift for all manner of investigative inquiry. I'm certainly no better investigator than you. I never had the chance to search for a murderer before. The best I can offer is to fill in the blanks with whatever mysterious supernatural entities seem most fitting. Shabnakadir is a simple man scarecrow. I would have followed a different narrative. What kind of narrative, considering the circumstances of his death? They said Simon had locked himself up in the evening and consequently died in the morning inside the mansion, in a chamber with some peculiar name. In that case, I would suggest that Simon was poisoned by the Canes, I would have thought, but I know that family all too well. Their mutual loyalty is only rivaled by their arrogance towards anyone who is not one of them. They hold the princely sage who stands at the head of their family in the highest esteem. They believe that a single dishonorable act will tarnish their name for generations to come. I doubt any of them would have stooped to this, no matter whether they wanted to or not. Poisoned? How did you arrive at this conclusion, especially since it's not correct? I don't believe you understand what "he died in focus" really implies. You know what the Canes refer to as focus. You don't seem to grasp the semantics of the term. These are the Canes for you. These kinds of innuendos are their forte. Well, what is this focus then? The focus is anything but an abstraction. Quite the opposite, in fact. It is governed by mathematically rigid regularities. You see, no one but the owner of a focus may get inside. This can only mean that Simon had brought the killer with him, or rather within him, since no physical object may be brought into focus either. How do you know that? Who doesn't? The Canes are notoriously passionate about all manners of synthetic anomalies. They will never pass up the opportunity to devise a Kunststück. I don't know what that word means, I'm going to be honest. That would allow them to warp space, challenge physics, or manipulate optics. Metaphysically, a focus can be compared to a chimera obscura. I guess it's technically camera, but it's supposed to be a Latin phrase, right? Do you know that the name is not unfitting? No, it is entirely impossible for someone to get inside. Let's go the nicer route, I guess. And you're also not allowed to eat or drink. Well, that makes one suspect child play in regard to Isidore's death. He had been stabbed after all. Stabbed does not even begin to describe it. Stock-Reuben told Clara that Isidore was slaughtered by some object resemblant of a humongous razor-sharp talon. What a riveting case. No wonder some people will start talking of steppe monsters made of assorted bones. What, a claw-like object? Didn't we already hear that from, like, the patrol guard? Such was the topography of the wound, according to Reuben. Neither Lara nor me are quite able to colloquialize a term like this. You should speak with him directly if you want to know the details. Make haste if you want to get hold of him. Reuben is eager to join Simon as soon as possible. No pun intended. So we need to find Reuben, I know that. Where is Reuben at the moment? Mourning his master, I think. They were very close. Did you investigate Isidore's house yet? Yes, but they won't let anyone in there. Is that so? Well, this does introduce a different perspective. Do you say Isidore was the last person to see Simon? The question is, who did he see before? The sun had not yet set when Isidore returned from the steppe. However, he came to Simon well after midnight. The question naturally arises, where did he spend the missing few hours? How do you know all that? That's a good question. I think you fail to grasp the entirety of your predicament. The rumors spread like wildfire here. One of the children saw Isidore come home. They were waiting by the entrance, eager to hear a step story or two. So the prosecution of Isidore's son is based on the testimony of a child? That is what Saburov claims. Was Isidore seen with Saburov by any chance? He was. He warned Saburov of an upcoming storm. Alright, let me suggest then that while he was in the steppe, he saw or learned something that he wanted to report to all three ruling families. In this case, either of the Oglimsky family should have been on his itinerary, especially since Brock was under their own men. Really? Definitely. The Bull Project, from the abattoir to the railway, is controlled by the Oglimsky family. If Isidore's discovery had anything at all to do with the kin, Isidore would have certainly related to Vlad, so do make sure to pay a visit to the lump. That's the name of the Oglimsky mansion. Another fitting name, wouldn't you agree? Thank you, Yulia. What would I do without you? Because I know we've got to go talk to Vlad Sr., and then from him we learn to talk to Vlad Jr., and I think that's how we learn of,
As the mind endeavors to reach one goal, the heart insensibly drags us towards another.
Right. I think that's how we learn of, Stock-Reuben's whereabouts. This one seems interesting. Do you like Eva? Oh, yeah, the opening dialogue's the same. Do you like Eva Jan? Very much. It wouldn't be much of a stretch to say I absolutely admire her. Yeah, same here. Oh, okay.
I'm afraid it's natural.
Oh, alright. Well, that's that dialogue tree, I guess. You managed to find out so much about me in 1 minute's talk. Okay, that's the closing dialogue. I don't think any of the other dialogue's interesting for us. So we'll go ahead and make our way over to the lump, which is just right. We head south for a bit. It should all come back to me hopefully pretty soon. I remember near the end of my first playthrough, I was getting to the point where I didn't really have to check the map. I remember vaguely where everything is, but it's going to take me a little while before I can remember the exact details of all the routes. I also need to remember to keep my eyes open for the garbage cans, as so, because these are going to come in handy later. Nope, or not if there's nothing in them. Okay, well, that's a shame. Yeah, I guess in my original playthrough I just kind of like skipped over some of this transit, because it's after a certain point there's not really anything to say when you're just walking, which is understandable, but at the very least in my first few playthroughs here I want to keep this all in just as a reminder of like what the general proceedings is. I think that back there, that's just a post with like a decorative thing on top. I thought it was like a sign at first. Oops, I didn't mean to jump, but okay, I can do it if I want. Right. Yeah, there's a bunch of people I didn't ever talk to on my first playthrough, so we can work through all that in a bit. First we gotta talk to Vlad. I like how he has a picture of a worm just on his desk, on his thing. So one question we're gonna find out here. Normally you're supposed to follow the worm to find the location of young Vlad, right? If we don't,
Why are my children
if we just go straight there, what happens? I mean, I guess we'll find out here. Bachelor Dunkovsky, of course. Who else could be so dapper? I've heard quite a lot about you. Have you taken a look around? Be sure to check the state of the industry around here. We have our own ways. How curious. And what is the current state of your industry? Come now. It's a complicated establishment with 1,000 years of history. A special approach is required to control such a colossus. See what I'm getting at, emissary? It would be pointless to object. I can see we're not really seeing eye to eye. The project is special, very special. That means common standards do not apply here. That would be naive. You're probably right.
Yes.
Yes, getting everything back on track won't be an easy task. I've come to inquire about the fate of my colleague, Isidore Brock, about the manner of his death, to be precise. What are you implying? What is this manner you're talking about? Be so kind as to mind your own manners. I had nothing to do with it. Don't they say that Isidore was murdered by a step demon, a Shebnakadir? There was a a talon they fished out of the wound. I can take this from kids and weirdos, but you, a respectable negotiant. It's hard for you to believe, isn't it? It used to be hard for many. Take my boy, for example, a scoffer if I've ever seen one, and now even he believes it's real. He bent off his head a bit. You're in the steppe now, esteemed sir, eastern and backwards. The dead rise from their graves here, clay dummies dance, and bulls talk. Does he know the steppe well, that son of yours? He runs elbows with the rabble, the butchers, the donga, shepherds, and gatherers, learns their tongue, collects their legends. He doesn't keep them in check at all. They even dare to come visit him within the premises of the town. If you see a worm creeping through the streets, he's definitely looking for my son. That's a hint that I didn't pick up on the first time I played. What's wrong with them visiting him within the premises of the town? They're dangerous, they're aggressive, and they hate everyone who isn't a step person. They'll jump you and kill you on the spot. They'll tear you up with their teeth and devour your flesh while you're still throwing fists at them. So if they're spotted within the town, countermeasures are taken. So your son knows who the murderer is? Okay, no, that's accusatory. So what of your son? Perhaps he could tell me more about this creature. Hold your horses. You want to talk to my blockhead? No, you've nothing to talk about. He's not here, thankfully. I don't want you two to meet. You heard me? You heard me? These are tradesmen's words. I'll stick to them. Yes, undoubtedly. Okay. Let's keep... I have trouble understanding him when I wasn't really listening too closely. But anyways. Let's keep on working through his dialogue tree. How do you think Simon died? I don't think he was murdered. How could he who craved monocracy not perish? He couldn't, not in this place. Balance requires equilibrium. So what you're saying is Simon's death worked in favor of the local hotshots, huh? Come now. What I'm saying is, when someone takes too much upon themselves, they always end up ground down. That's how life works. Yet they say Simon was the one to bend the circumstances, not the other way around. No one seems to doubt that. I feel like getting more information, since we know what happened, I feel like getting more information on, like, the relations of the townspeople is more important. Simon has lived a very long life. Very long. He was a worthy man. But long doesn't mean eternal, does it? No one is to blame for his death. Examine the body, you'll see for yourself. It just happened. Cain won't let me examine the body. Well, that is temporary. A family tradition. He's not lying to you. He truly believes Simon was murdered. Were he to admit that Simon simply died of death? Died of death? Sure. He'd probably go to his last to himself. The shock would be too much for the man. That's strange. Georgia Cain didn't appear sentimental to me.
Yes.
Alright, let's go through this. Isidore came by to see you last night. Don't try to deny it. So what if he did? I'm also aware of what you two have been talking about. All I want to know is why he left to see Simon after. Words. Oh my, pray forgive me. So he wanted to bring me to heel, the traitor, the bastard. Well, what he asked for was for me to stop the factory. How could I not kick him out? What were his reasons? His reasons? The bastard. He reasoned he'd pay a visit to my daughter. He knows full well how to pull my strings. Well, I told her to lock the door, so he went away none the wiser. Oh, the bastard. So he went to Simon, huh? Thank goodness my loafer of a son is hanging around somewhere, or else he could have... Could have what? Huh? That, my dear and respectable friend, is none of your business. My property, like I said, is in order. See the skin and meat delivery reports. Do you know how hard... No way, it's my domain. Whether anyone riots or not. And I'll have my way with them. I see, you're the big guy here. Alright, well, I mean, that's the end of that conversation. So, I mean, that's giving us some info on the dynamics between Oglimsky and, Isidore Brock, which is, nice. I don't know how much it'll play into, like, the future, but it's good to, like, see a setup for the plot. And we're close enough to, like, an episode's length that I'm just gonna call it here, as you can tell. I don't think, like, next time we'll be doing the young Oglimsky thing, but I feel like it's going to take too long for it to include in this video, so we'll call it, and as always, thank you for watching.